I pushed the record button, so now it lights up red whenever I do that.
Now I'm nervous.
Are you nervous now? Yeah, I never told you guys before when I recorded these things. I've just been posting them online for everyone to hear.
What? I thought that was just for us.
No,
you said it was just for us.
No, there are literally tens of people that listen to this, and I never told you before. So now you know.
Now I'm nervous, and I can't feel my teeth.
Now there's tens of people out there that will never want to associate with me or give me a job.
You specifically. I've got a lot of hate mail about you personally.
I understand.
And
we
I
all
don't
have
know
very strange beliefs.
I feel weird about responding to those emails, so I may just have you do that.
That's fine. Yeah. Send them my way.
I've gotten a couple that I just open in the mail because we live at the same place, so I just open them up, and it's I've responded to them. It's been pretty great. We've had some correspondence back and forth.
What did they have to say about me?
The wind off that one.
What the mail was, they were always talking about how much he sucks and how they want some of his hair.
Oh,
And I've actually supplied them with some of his hair. He just never knew it. Like, I follow him around while he's pacing, and I catch him as they fall off of his head while he's moving his hair. And then I mailed those people Marcus's hair.
Mormon magic doesn't work on me, though, so I'm not scared.
You're immune to werewolfism.
I'm immune to Mormon magic.
Whoa.
Hey everybody, I'm Dane Holland, and I want to go fast and eat chili dogs and play with my best friend that has two different tails.
I'm Austin Shazam Pfeiffer, and have you heard the legend?
I'm Marcus, the tinfoil tyrant, known as I Am Electric Man.
I'm Austin Tiny Zent, and welcome to the Penetration Station.
Oh, get ready, because it better be consensual. Here on Nerd It Through the Grapevine, where four best friends gather weekly to talk about our favorite parts of past, present, and future nerd culture.
And one of my favorite things about nerd culture is theory crafting. We all have our favorite scenarios. We all have our favorite IPs and stuff. And I love tinfoil theories. And I have this friend who also really likes tinfoil theories. And I'm just going to call him and see if he's got one for me.
That's exciting.
Yes.
I hope they answer, because our history of people answering.
Yeah, no, it's not very good.
No, it's terrible.
Did I answer with two people calling? Which one called me?
It's the Rooster.
The Rooster answered!
Rooster?
I'm also Shazam.
Shazam?
That's me!
And Tiny.
Tiny. What's going on? Hey, guys.
Hey, give me, I need your hottest take tinfoil theory of the day.
Hottest take tinfoil theory of the day.
Yes. This is what you're known for.
The original Star Wars trilogy, 1 through 3. I believe.
Wait, did you just say the original Star Wars trilogy 1 through 3?
I did say that. Listen, I'm trying to think of, give me a moment, okay? The second trilogy, which is episodes 1 through 3.
Okay.
Right?
Yes.
Mace Windu is like a jackass to Anakin the whole time.
Yes.
And I think it's because Mace Windu thought he himself was the chosen one.
Oh.
Like, think about it, right? So, like, I mean, he's a complete dick to him the whole time. At one point, was it Obi-Wan looks at him and is like, well, he's the chosen one. And Sam Jackson just kind of looks at him and is like, so the prophecy says, just kind of a little nonchalant, like, yeah, I don't know if it's him or not.
You mean he says that about Anakin?
Yeah. He was talking to Obi-Wan, though.
Okay.
Yeah, and he was also jealous of the idea. He was jealous of the idea of Qui-Gon actually training Anakin to...
At all. He didn't want him to be trained at all. Yeah. And listen to this. It gets deeper. Ready for the next two steps?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Hit me.
Tiny, you're going to love this. You can help me out.
Okay.
How many forms of lightsaber combat are there?
7.
7. What is the 7th form?
Oh, boy.
I'll make it simple. It's the most recent created one because a Force sensitive Norse known as Sora Bulk and Mace Windu created Vapid style.
No, you're thinking of Vapod is not the most recent. Vapod is well, you're right. It is the most recent.
Don't challenge the Rooster.
It's not its own exclusive fighting style. It is a variation of the 7th.
Correct. But what's very special about it?
Well,
you have to actually walk.
You tap
the line,
into the dark
right?
side. Yeah, that's why Mace Windu's lightsaber canonically was purple, because he used that as a way of purging the dark side emotions from him.
Yeah.
So that blue
and red make purple.
Okay.
Yeah.
So in real life, it was just because Sam Jackson was like, I want a purple lightsaber.
Yeah. Well, listen though. What is the prophecy of the chosen one?
Bring balance.
What's complete balance?
Purple.
The light and the dark?
Purple is balance.
The gray.
Well, I mean, look at it. His lightsaber represents the balance of light and dark, and he created a lightsaber form that represents the balance of light and dark. This son of a bitch thought he was the chosen one.
And he was about to strike down the Sith Lord. And he was about to do that.
And from the rumors that I've heard from the rumorville of the internet, the second book of Boba Fett is going to actually have Boba having to track down Mace, because Mace isn't actually dead.
Did you just give me a spoiler?
I didn't give you a spoiler. I gave you a rumor.
Form 7 is also known as Juyo.
Bless you.
Juyo, Juyo.
Yeah, and Vapod was a variation of Juyo.
So what you're telling me is that do you believe this theory?
Absolutely, 100%. 100%. No way I'm wrong. No way.
It is.
So what you're telling me is that Mace Windu was about to strike down Palpatine, therefore nullifying the original trilogy. So he was about to kind of bring balance to the Force, but yet Anakin stepped in and stopped him from doing that. But then, I don't know.
And there has been leaked footage of Samuel L. Jackson training with a lightsaber and wearing the robes of a Jedi.
Now, that might be a spoiler.
That is a spoiler, and that
I don't know
is awesome.
Where it's supposed to be.
That's not a contextual spoiler. It's just more or less hell, there's the internet.
What if Sam Jackson was just bored in his bathrobe and he's like, this will be really funny?
Because he's got replica prop lightsabers
Oh, he
sitting
absolutely
around.
does. One of them says
I would
bad
pay for a
MFer on the
YouTube
hill.
video of Sam Jackson acting like Mace Windu. I would pay to watch it.
I mean, he's. My name is Samuel L. Jackson, not Mace Windu, nerds.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
I would totally watch it.
So Mace thinks he was the chosen one.
Yes.
Was he?
Absolutely.
Was he?
Was he the chosen one? That's a wonderful question because, Anakin, if we're going to continue with Disney, none of them are the chosen one in the 4, 5, and 6 or 1, 2, and 3. Because Luke was only the chosen one because he stroked down Palpatine.
He stroked Palpatine. He's stroking so
He
good.
petted
Stroked
him
him
real
down,
hard.
but Disney stroked him back up, so he's no longer dead.
Right.
Yep.
He's
And that would have been
correct as all can be.
that would have been the greatest theater reveal in our lifetime if they would have just held his damn laugh out of the freaking trailers.
But if you don't watch trailers, you wouldn't know.
You didn't have to watch a trailer.
he
You
was
had to
al-
be in the theater with your ears not shut hard enough.
Yeah, he was also on the movie poster.
That too.
Oh,
What movie poster?
So go ahead.
Well, my question is in the myth of the chosen one or whatever. Is
Correct.
it a forever balance? Is it like a permanent balance that this one chosen person is supposed to bring, or is it?
So he's supposed to represent the balance. He's not actually supposed to completely destroy it. It's a misreading of the ancient Jedi text, in my opinion, my humble opinion.
Right. Oh, humble my ass.
Because you gotta be.
You know what you're talking about.
Well, let me throw this
Yeah.
wrench at you, Rooster.
I'll dodge it.
I've heard a compelling argument that Anakin was actually the chosen one to bring the balance
Yep.
to the Force. Hence his
Nope.
reason for going to the dark side, because at the time there was only one Sith Master and not two.
Was there though?
So who made the prophecy in the first place?
The Jedi with a comma in between. Yeah, they're. I believe the original Jedi were a race of creatures, kind of like the Sith.
So why do we trust them, though? What if they're just playing with our heads all these millennia?
Well, actually, let me rewrite that. The Wills of the Force are the ones who officially wrote it.
And are they trustworthy?
Yeah. The Wills of the Force. You know the scrolls, the opening scrolls that you see at every Star Wars movie?
Yes.
Yeah.
That is a page out of the Wills of the Force, because they're the ones telling the story to us.
Oh.
You're being told a story through a narrative of the Wills of the Force. They're just so good at telling the story that it looks real to us.
So
You know, the balance of the Force thing was actually a conversation that I'd had earlier in the week with Dane, because I was reading an article about Qui-Gon, who's my favorite Jedi, and
Love him.
and talking about how that was the father figure and the actual turning point, and why Duel of the Fates is such an important piece of music to go along with the battle going between, you know, him, Obi-Wan, and Darth Maul happening there. They said that the idea was that Anakin needed that father figure and that compassionate figure to be there and to help him through his emotional traumas, instead of the figure that Obi-Wan was, that was basically like, yes, this happened, shove it down, you're a Jedi.
Yep.
So
That's pretty sweet. I like that a lot, actually.
So
The Duel of Fates is actually about Anakin, not.
yes, it's the
That's
duel
right.
it's the duel of Anakin's fate, because if
Yeah.
Obi-Wan would, I mean, yeah, clearly he won the fight. I mean, no doubt, but he did not win the battle, and the battle
Right.
was the duel of fate. And so, by Qui-Gon being struck down, Anakin lost his chance, and I think Anakin lost his chance at that point to be the balance to the Force, because he may have been the child of prophecy until that turning point of Duel of Fate.
Well, I have Wikipedia pulled up. Wikipedia, and I've pulled
I love
up
it.
the prophecy. And according to ancient Jedi prophecy,
Wait, is this Legends or Canon?
Canon.
What's the tag at the top?
well, it's
of a gun.
hold on. Is there a tag at the top? Let's see. If
It
there's a
should
tag
be at the very top. It should say Legends or
Okay,
Canon.
it says in canon.
Okay, there we go.
Okay, the
This
Jedi
is it.
prophecy
Oh, man.
states that the Chosen One would bring balance to the Force by destroying the Sith, which really is an oxymoron if we think about it, because true balance has both light and dark.
correct.
And you can't have just light. And so
See, that's what I'm saying.
At the time of Anakin's fall, there was one Sith Master that was Sidious. There was no second Sith Master for the rule of two, which was instituted by Darth Bane, and that's a whole other thing. But the fact of the matter is, if you destroy all the Sith, you disrupt the balance. So by Anakin falling and succumbing to the dark side, he did bring balance to the Force.
My thought on
Hence,
that
Chosen One.
My thought on that is the balance to the Force is the balance of the Force, much like what Mace Windu's character was, where he purged that dark side tendency that he had through his saber. You know, he had the ability of both. He had the knowledge of both, because he had to walk the line of both. So what I think is that Anakin was the chosen one until the Duel of the Fates, and then his path was altered. Then you had to have somebody else to fill that prophecy and change the balance, because then you had to go through an entire repeating cycle of developing that person that's going to come along in the mix of the Force to be able to balance it and walk the side of both. Hence why it took so long to get to Rey's story, and why Rey was a crucial point, because Rey walked both.
I think it's an interesting question that if Mace hadn't tried to strike down Sidious at that point, would Anakin have turned to the dark side? Like, if they would have just arrested him and done the right thing, like, would Anakin have, like, because then he kills Mace Windu. Spoiler.
Whoa.
I'm beyond happy that you asked that question. I'm beyond happy because if I remember correctly, when in the novelization of Revenge of the Sith, when they're writing that scene, Mace had every intention of going there to actually arrest Palpatine. He was not going to kill him, even knowing his whole plan was to go there. I believe I'm right. Could be wrong, possibly 5% chance. But in the writing, it actually says that when Anakin appears, Mace felt everything through the Force, the connection that Palpatine and Anakin had, and knew immediately that he had to strike down Palpatine to end it. And so, yes, I agree with you. I think it would have been different, but through the novelization of it, they kind of explained it a bit more as to like why he just kind of went for it, and it's because he somehow through the Force he felt the connection that they had and had a glimpse of what was going on.
If it would have been any other Jedi except Mace, do you think they would have continued with the arrest? Because Mace is the one that has the most connection with the dark side. So I think he was influenced. Now think about the master strategist that Palpatine was. Do you think he influenced Mace to kill him to completely make Anakin go to the dark side?
I believe so. Yes, I think Palpatine and all of his Sith relics. Like I don't think we could ever actually know how powerful some of his like cloaking and like mind control or the ability to at least influence somebody's decision. I don't think we'll ever actually know because I mean he started a whole war. Like he influenced so many people at once.
He drove the bus. I mean, the bus that was the plot of the final 3 Star Wars movies were driven by Palpatine from behind the scenes with a puppet. And I mean, it's astonishing because I walked into the house the other day because we leave television on for William, the Aussie Doodle, and Dane had put on Rise of Skywalker. And by the time that I got home, it was to the part of the story to where it was Leia's training and going through Leia's part of the story, just that little snippet right there with her and Luke training in the forest. From that point on in the movie, it is nothing but just like fan service bullets straight to your eye holes. And I feel bad for people that don't like Rise of Skywalker because literally the last quarter of that movie is all like, here's something you'll like, here's something you'll like, here's something you'll like, and it all fits together to me. Like if you just take that last quarter of it, there's no quarrel with the entirety of it for me. But seeing Mace fight Palpatine in the third movie and watching the way that Palpatine gets struck by his own Force lightning, the way that Rey did it, I feel like with Palpatine doing it in the Revenge of the Sith, I think that was intentional, just like you guys had said, because I think he knew Anakin was on the way.
Absolutely.
He felt, because his connection to Anakin was strong, he wanted to make himself look like the victim just because, and he did. I mean, that was entirely what happened in the scene.
So he drove Mace to want to kill him in order to influence Anakin to further fall into the dark.
Well,
and if Qui-Gon had been there to raise Anakin better and to help him be in more control of what his emotions were, he would have had a completely alternative, an alternate reaction to what he had when Mace was in there fighting him. He would have seen what was happening, and he would have been able to react in the better and help to arrest Palpatine, as opposed to helping strike down Mace.
Honestly, in my opinion, it doesn't matter what Mace Windu did at that point, because Anakin was already so broken by the machinations of Palpatine already, and he was so driven to find the manuscripts from Plagueis to try to bring back Padme, that it didn't matter whether Mace Windu, helped Palpatine nutsack his own face or killed him or arrested him or whatever. He was already broken, so regardless of what the outcome of that confrontation was going to be, Anakin was going to be Darth Vader, period, end of story. And also, Rooster, I'm sorry, you're wrong.
Yeah.
Well, and that's why they're called tinfoil theories. And Rooster, you gave me exactly what I was looking for. I'm so glad that you were able to join us.
Good. I'm glad.
All right, everybody listening, I want you to give a big round of applause now to Mr. Richard the Rooster Laws.
The Grape Rooster, baby.
The Grape Rooster. Round of applause. That's for you,
Yeah.
Rooster.
Yeah, they're clapping because you're wrong about Mace Windu.
We did it.
I love you, but you are.
No, I'm not. You know that. You know better than that.
We love you, Rooster.
You know better than that. Okay, guys, I'm gonna go party. I'm about to take some shots. Have a good night. Yeet yeet. Yeet yeet.
It's wonderful.
I'm glad. I'm glad.
For those who don't know, the Rooster is an original grape of the show. So you'll be seeing him. Seeing him? Yeah, you might see him sometime. You'll be hearing from him again.
We like to find
some
ways to
point.
squeeze him into the grape sack.
Yeah, yeah, we
Yeah.
do.
Figuratively
Yeah, we do.
and spiritually.
And the grape sack is what we refer to the recording area that we have the podcast in here at Nerdy Through the Grapevine, just in case people don't know that from our lingo and know that from hearing that from us. And something important to podcasting, I feel like, is, our outreach and how many people we can actually reach in our broadcast area and trying to find new viewers. There are some OGs in the podcasting world that have been getting some very good material put out here recently. Critical Role, over the characters from their first campaign, have had a series made on Amazon Prime called The Legend of Vox Machina. And The Legend of Vox Machina is an American adult animated fantasy streaming television series produced by Critical Role Productions and Titmouse Incorporated. And I'm talking about Vox Machina because it was introduced to me by one of our listeners on the Discord server that we have, and this is going out to Mr. Kevin Busby. He told us we need to definitely watch this show and talk about it a little bit, and thank you very much for doing so, because there have been 9 episodes released thus far. Thus far, there have been 9 episodes released, and Dane and myself have watched them all, because once we started, we kind of just couldn't stop.
Give me more.
Do you know what Vox Machina means?
You're going to tell me.
The voice in the machine.
Nice.
Oh, cool.
And Marcus has watched one of the episodes just to get himself
but I didn't
introduced
want
to
to
it.
stop. It was fun. Like, I had a really good time with it because just from what I noticed in the very beginning, and I'll try to make this short, it was like funny. I mean, not all of it landed, but it was just like kind of realistically just people humor, just normal people humor. But then it was like also had like that edge of seriousness to it as well.
It has a good story, and it also has, I think, for fans of D&D or people that might not even know of D&D, it fits both categories, because you can know nothing about D&D and still watch this show and be entertained by it. It's very entertaining. It's got a lot of action. It's got a good base story, and it's also got, just comedy and entertainment. I mean, let me give you a list of the characters here and who the actors are that play them, because the voices from Critical Role, the podcast, are the voices on the Amazon original series,
As it should be.
So, and that's awesome. I mean, we've been working on our own little things that are kind of
I want to say that I'm jealous. I'm actually kind of freaking jealous. I know they're big timers and all, and we're not, but still, what a cool thing to have that much like resources to pursue just some campaign that you and your friends played together.
Well, their campaign originally started out as just them just playing privately, and then they got hooked up with Geek and Sundry, the YouTube channel, and they was on there for a while, and they eventually branched out and made their own channel, Critical Role. But they do a lot of cool things.
The first season actually will consist of 12 episodes. We only have 9 of those out as we're recording this episode of the podcast, but we have seen all of them. The first 10 episodes were funded from a Kickstarter campaign. So in November 2019, the series was, actually renewed by Amazon for a second season ahead even of the original series premiere.
Oh, that's awesome.
So back when they first started, making this happen, getting it all rolling, they're like, no, we're going to do another. This has been a massive outcry. We're going to do more.
Well, and it's time to capitalize on it.
They need to. And the thing that a lot of people don't realize at this point is a lot of youngsters don't have to go through what we as youngsters went through by not being relevant. Because the stuff that we were into when we were kids and all these comics and these nerd things and high fantasy and la-da-da, those weren't the popular things to be into whenever you were a kid in our generation. The modern generation of children can be more accepted and grow up as they are, and they have a culture to follow now. Because there's something for everybody out there now when it revolves around nerd culture. There's no shame in the game. People aren't as prone to yuck your yums anymore as they used to. And I'll go through the character list real quick of Critical Role just so everybody knows who the characters are. I will explain who the voice actors are after I tell you who they're playing here. Because the voice actors actually, they're professional voice actors. Whenever they're even doing Critical Role, they had previous voice work in some stuff and actual actor work and stuff that made me realize, like, oh man, I know who these people are. Just at least a couple of them. The rest of them, they're popular for works that I'm aware of, but didn't know who they were. But they've got Laura Bailey. She's Vexalia Vex Vesar. She's a member of Vox Machina and the twin sister of Vax Ilden. Vaxildon. You got Vex and Vax. They are twins, male and female. Laura Bailey plays Vex, and Liam O'Brien plays Vax. Marisha Ray plays Calith of the Air Ashari.
Keyleth.
Yes, what good. You can pronounce all the names for me. I
was helping.
I can't remember. The only one that I
some of them are strange.
The two that reside the heaviest in my head are Grog and Stanlin.
Scanlon.
Yeah, I know. See, that's what I did. Who's
the bard?
The bard is Scanlon Shorthalt. He's played by Sam Riegel. Travis Willingham plays Grog. And you've got Matthew Mercer playing Lord Silas Briarwood. And you've got...
is he the one with the gun?
No,
that's
Percival. Percival DeRollo III. His name is so long.
There's a few characters. Yeah, there's a lot of characters.
Yeah, read the whole name.
Percival Percy Fredrickson von Musel Klosalski DeRollo III. There, I said it.
And you murdered every bit of it.
It hurts me. It's just such a long name for Percy. Percy's story is focused on pretty heavy in this first season, and his story is pretty epic. I enjoy his little plague doctor thing he's got going on, dealing with the hatred and the malice that he has towards the people that are on his Arya Stark style list. But instead of a list, he's got gun with demonic powers, and they've got engravings in there of his kill list. It's very awesome.
The first season is based on the first campaign. It's not a direct copy because there was an original member that's not present in the show that was present in the actual campaign. Tiberius Stormwind. He was a dragonborn sorcerer, and he ended up having to leave the show earlier than he was intended. But a lot of the things that happen in the show have happened in the campaign in one way or another. So it's kind of like the short form of the giantness.
I want to tell you why I'm excited about it is because I've always heard of Critical Role. I've tried to get into their stuff because I recognize that these are all very talented folks. Like, they're all just killing it with the voices. Mercer is like one of the best DMs of all time, probably, or something. I don't know. But I can't get into the 4-hour YouTube videos of them going through and doing their ads and then doing the roles and just, I don't know. For me, it's awesome to be able to just see it all in that show format.
Yeah, it is kind of tedious, but once you get into it, you don't even notice the tedium. Like, the roles just go over your head.
Yeah, I guess if you get really immersed enough.
Yeah.
Right, but it takes a lot of time.
It does. It really does.
And, I'm not opposed to doing that because I do that for books and other things. I do that for my things I really like, but it's just I've never been able to get through that into really appreciate Critical Role.
Right.
And there's a lot of people that are, and I've pulled up the actor list here. That's whoever voicing all of these people in the show, because we heard a voice in there as Dana and me were watching it, or Dana and I were watching. I don't care, but we were watching the show, and we like, God, this general's voice sounds so familiar. Like, who is this guy? Who is General Craig? Which, not Craig, like Krieg, Krieg, but they pronounce it Craig.
It's David Tennant.
It's David Tennant.
Yeah.
And I love David Tennant.
It's awesome.
And you've got Stephanie Beatriz, who plays Lady Kilma, and she's from Brooklyn Nine-Nine. Rosa. And the show is very entertaining, though. I mean, it doesn't take it doesn't it doesn't take a lot of think power to sit and understand this show as much as it takes a lot of think power to sit and understand D&D. Now, now as a fan of D&D, you can watch this show and you can see where they're making attempts at stuff and they didn't roll very well. They didn't do a very good job. Now they're going to have to figure out what to do next. Okay, next turn. Who's doing what? You can see this aspect happening in there. You can also see when they get their critical rolls.
And a few episodes back, Marcus, you had brought to our attention that there's a D&D movie in the works. And I mentioned, like, I think it needs to be a little funnier, and we need to see actions that are happening that's obvious that you're getting these poor rolls or great rolls on certain things. We're seeing that in this show, exactly what I was talking about.
Right.
Like, they executed this animation, like,
brilliantly,
perfectly for that, because there are doors.
Yeah, the first one I noticed in the first episode was when I think Percy didn't Percy try to like shoot his gun and it like kind of backfired on him?
Yes.
Yeah, so like right there, and it didn't. You didn't have to sit there and like go through all the rolls and everything. It was just click, backfired.
Yep.
Like oh, perfect.
And then you've got Vax, who's the male of the twins. He's a master lockpick, rogue, and he's sitting there and he's picking a lock to a door, and his lock picks continuously keep breaking. And it's one of those things that it'll show like him trying to do the door, and then somebody else will do something. Then he's going to try to do the door. So it's turn-based without actually being a turn-based style system, like just real slow, progressive. The thing that he says, though, Dane and me just started laughing, and it's contextual to the show, but he's like, "This isn't a door. This is a thing of evil." because he's just sitting there failing all of his lockpicking rolls, and he's supposed to do really well at this. It shouldn't be a problem, and then somebody else just comes right along, just like Trudy in our campaign when Dane broke his shoulder as a half orc broke his shoulder on a door, and then my wife, playing a little half elf, just kicks the door in.
Half elf rogue
kicks the door
in that the half orc fighter
like flies off flies off the hinges.
Also beat me up in a city.
A child,
several times.
a small child. You were the bane of the existence of the children of that game.
Awesome. I love it.
And also, we had one of the places that we were in that campaign was what was it?
Whitestone.
Whitestone was in that campaign, and one of the main focuses of the show revolves around the town of Whitestone.
Yeah, I actually set that game in the world of Exandria, which is the name of Matt Mercer's world. So I did use towns from there to build that around.
So that's what I was about to ask. Like, I wonder if D&D's kind of feeling left out, like they got kind of cut out. But I mean, I know they've already got deals with Mercer and stuff, but I wondered if the show was going to embrace the D&D world, but you kind of answered my question in the sense that it's Matt Mercer's world.
And again, not spoiling anything.
And
about
he's probably
the show.
already got that stuff. Like,
Wizards did produce a source book of the world of Exandria written by Matt Mercer.
Gotcha.
So you can officially use a canonical book from D&D to set your game in that world.
I had to think out loud. I mean, obviously he's probably already got it trademarked and everything before he even has a deal with Wizards. So,
and Wizards isn't going to miss out on a chance for them to make some money.
Exactly.
They're not gonna. They're gonna be like, oh, so you're wanting to make this into an Amazon show, and then their mouth opens for you to insert coins.
I've heard Wizards of the Coast referred to as Wizards of the Cost.
Plus you said they had it crowdfunded at one point, huh?
They did, and it was shown at that point, just how much of a dedication people have to this Critical Role podcast to be able to say, like, I would love to see this animated. Please do this. I'm donating money to this cause.
Right. Well, and it's going to bring new eyes like me to the property and to all that.
And it makes me interested in getting into Critical Role. But there's some meta stuff in the show as well that's obvious meta, not like the kind of stuff that y'all talk about that goes over my head and hits the wall. No spoilers in this. I can tell you out of context what's happening, but at one point they're in this guard area and they kind of break through a door, and there's guards sitting everywhere inside of there, and the guards, you hear them say as soon as the door's knocked down, well, you have to roll for intent. And they're sitting at the table playing D&D.
Yeah,
so
like in the story.
The story. So it's really cool to see. Scanlan is my favorite, even though I can't remember his name because I'm a big dumb and he's a fake name. I love his character. I I've never played a bard character in any
No idea why.
in any game that I've had, but seeing his character, the bard, even the gnome aspect of it, it just absolutely makes me just very excited. So, if you get a chance to, get on Amazon Prime, watch The Legend of Vox Machina. By the time you listen to this episode, it's probably going to still be 9 episodes. The following Friday from this episode's first release, you will have, I believe, 3 more episodes, which are the final 3 of the first season. So you should watch it. You should enjoy it. If you don't, it's not my fault. You just don't have the same taste of stuff I do.
Which is the wrong taste.
Exactly. Well, D&D started over 40 years ago in the 70s. Then it went through different shifts. When we started playing, well, not we, when you played before I did. So it was at the tail end of the Satanic Panic, because I remember seeing news shows.
Late 90s.
Yeah, late 90s. Them talking about, oh, well, this kid went upstairs with a sword to kill his dad because he was playing Dungeons and Dragons.
No, kid was
and
a
that's
dumbass.
Of the devil. And that makes me think of the 20 and Back program. That was just a BS way to me to kind of segue. It really made no sense.
No, that's fine.
But I wanted to do that way. But anyway,
Sure.
So we're going to be talking about aliens, but not aliens.
Of course.
There's been 2 main whistleblowers for the 20 and Back secret space program, Tony Rodriguez and Michael Gerloff. They came out in 2016 and 2017, respectively. The 20 and Back space program is essentially, so you're in the military, you're joining the army, you're going to serve your country. And so you do all the things to do that, and you're getting ready to sign the papers, and this guy that's, handing you your papers to sign goes, how do you feel about outer space? You want to go there? Does that sound cool? And you're like, yeah, dude, that sounds awesome. Well, the problem with this is it's a 20-year commitment instead of the normal, I think, 4 or 6 years. It's 20 years. You're not going to be able to have any contact with anybody you've ever known. But at the end of the 20 years, you come back to the moment before you sign the paper like it never happened. And we'll age regress you, and you won't even remember going.
Wait, is this in real life or is this in something?
This is a real conspiracy, okay?
It's a real conspiracy.
I'm not going to say that these are factual events, but if you listen to...
Yeah, let's just clear that up at first.
Yeah, if you listen to Tony Rodriguez give his story about what happened to him, I don't feel like he's lying, but I don't feel like it's the truth. But you can make your own decisions.
It walks the line.
Yeah. Tony Rodriguez and Michael Gerloff have the most consistent stories. Like, their stories never change, leaving more credence to what they say. So Tony Rodriguez, when he was a child, he was abducted and was sold into sex trafficking, was forced to do these horrible things. And so when he was 13, he was sold to the secret space program. His was a little different because he was sold at 13, and at 16 is when everything started for him to do his secret space missions. So he worked as a cargo officer on a spaceship for the SSP, Secret Space Program. Keep up with the acronyms, people. Come on.
I can't do this.
So his first stop was on the moon for training at a secret base run by the Germans.
Oh, good. Good.
There were Nazi-ish things like, rank symbols that may or may not have swastikas in or around them.
I knew the moon was shady.
Yeah. So he got all his training there, and then, he got hired on the cargo ship for the thing. Not really hired, but occasionally they'd give him like $20 of some kind of monies that I can't find in the article right off the top of my head.
Pocket dollars.
And currency called francs. I just found it, which looked like old German marks from pre-World War II. They would stop on various planets. There'd be market stalls. There were lots of Germans around. Germans were everywhere, okay?
Well, they had to go everywhere after World War II to escape persecution.
Exactly. Like all the Nazis went to the moon and the Mars and stuff. Now, where it gets real fun is on the moon, they were trained to fight these alien creatures that, according to both Gerloff and Rodriguez, that they were the size of Volkswagen buses. So take that into account.
Who were
The aliens had to fight.
These children
on the moon?
Yeah, they were trained on the moon to fight these bugs. They basically
Okay,
had some,
but they
like,
weren't.
tankish
But the
ones.
bugs weren't on the moon.
No, they were transported to the moon
From
for
the
training from Mars.
from the world of the movie Starship Troopers.
Got you.
And they were transported there just so you could hear sounds in space.
Well, they were given drugs to, you know how we have the fight or flight, instinct?
Yeah.
They were given drugs to repress the flight but ramp the fight, because they said, well, it doesn't matter if you get your arm blown off, we can regrow that. So Mr. Rodriguez had several body parts blown off. They strapped grenades around their body, so if the mission was going to be a failure, they were supposed to run in, jump on the alien, detonate their Belto grenades, because we can bring you back.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
This sounds like one of those SCP foundations.
It does.
It's not, but it sounds like it.
It really does.
At one point, he meets Barack Obama, Space Ranger Man, because apparently he was some like awesome commando, knew his stuff, could kill these bugs super good.
Who was?
Barack Obama.
Barack Obama, Space
Pre-presidency.
Ranger.
Yeah, Barack Obama, Space Ranger Man. So they did some training with him. Then they went to Mars, and then they fought these alien bugs on Mars. And so at the end of his 20 years, he was brought back to Earth. Age regressed 20 years, and the memories were suppressed. His paperwork, which you can actually pull up online, it looks weird because it shows like his discharge doesn't say that he was actually fully discharged from the military. So it's almost like he's still in, which is very odd because most, I think it's DD 242, if I remember correctly.
DD 214s?
214, yes, thank you. Will actually say, this person was discharged with full honors or blah, blah, blah. His doesn't say that. It just says, like, the date he was released. And let's see, what spurred his memory? Anyway, something happened, like he met this woman, and if I remember right, she was like a hypnotist, and she helped him tap into his memories that he didn't know he had. And so now he's constantly recalling those 20 years that he spent in space fighting bugs and, shooting shit with Barack Obama, Space Ranger Man.
Now, I wonder, just real quick sidebar, I wonder if this man ever had contact with the owner of Collectibles Unlimited from the hometown we grew up in. I wonder if they ever got together and shot the shit and gave their experience stories together. Like,
I mean, it's possible.
Like the owner of that shop would talk to him about the origins of Jesus and the blood types, and he would be like, "Oh, well, that fits into what I learned while I was in space." He's like, "You've been too?"
Well, the list of current whistleblowers, other than Mr. Rodriguez and Mr. Gerloff, are Michael Relf, Arthur Newman, Andy Basiago, Bernard Mendez, Michael Prince, Max Spears, Randy Kramer, and Corey Good. Do any of those names ring a bell?
No, and they shouldn't ring a bell because they're whistleblowers on a falsehood of worlds. At the same time, too, I say a falsehood of worlds, and that's just because of my narrow little smooth brain thinking there's no way that this stuff like that is real. Otherwise, I would have found it.
Okay, so some random bullet points in the article I'm looking at of different facts. There's quotation marks around the word facts.
Oh, good.
He saw the Nazi eagle a lot on the uniforms of officials who commanded him, sometimes with a swastika, which I already said. He saw a Huna Mons out of his spaceship window, which was, I think, one of the moons around Jupiter, I want to say. I could be wrong. Don't quote me on that.
But you're on a recorded medium where you're instantly quoted.
Yeah,
no.
Whatever. It's a moon from a planet that we have no business being around.
Yeah, because we live on the only planet that
Europa.
supports life.
Europa?
Could be, maybe. He saw other spaceships and giant hangars on various planets and moons.
Is it like for like really big shirts?
Yes.
So it's like an extension of the Nazis went to the moon and time traveled.
Yeah, pretty
Kinda
much.
conspiracy.
Pretty much.
There's a movie about that on Amazon too.
Yeah, Iron Sky. He describes a giant train station in Ceres with giant horses built with scaffolding in an underground cavern.
Just in space.
In space. Yep.
Just in space.
In space.
All these places that have taken drones and unmanned vehicles, decades to achieve, or not really decades at this point. I think that the trip for them to get to the farthest reaches that they've gotten to has only taken maybe like 7-8 months, something like that.
Yeah. He did dig a small metal pill-shaped object out of his calf, which he thinks was a way of tracking his movements while he was a member of this program. There was electronics in it when it was split apart, but they couldn't figure out exactly what it did.
That's
Who couldn't?
checks out.
Anybody that he talked to. He didn't say who they were. He just said
Exactly.
they.
Who saw it? Who examined it?
I asked my granny, and Granny said it don't look like nothing she's never seen.
This sounds like some granny magic to me.
Right.
Granny never seen nothing like it, but she said, if you're going to have your memories wiped and replaced with stuff, you might as well go with this program. It sounds good to me.
There was technology to give people artificial telepathy so they could communicate through that to each other, and in that were automatic translators between English and German.
Oh, so you had
Google Translate
So
on a
Google-
cell phone back
Pretty
then.
much.
how long has Musk been developing this technology, and has
400 years, but he signed the contract so he gets to go back and be young again.
that really explains the way his face looks?
yeah.
Like like Elon Musk literally does look like somebody that's went through that 20 and back program like 4 to 6 times, and that's the result right there
It's
that you
getting
get.
screwy.
Like the magic and technology can only do so much so many times. Tiny sidebar again. You have a hole in your Dickies sock.
I've got several holes. That's because of my Rancor-like pit bull Nola. I love you, girl. If you're listening, which you probably should be in bed right now. Since I'm not home.
I just want to throw out to the listening audience that this will also be on Discord. The hole in Tiny's sock where it said Dickie now makes it appear to say Dickles.
And if I pull up the big hole, you can see the smiley face on my foot,
Dickles.
or at least
Smile.
part of it.
Happy Dickles.
Continue with your story. I'm sorry. I just got really sidetracked
I understand.
by the sock.
The sock is horrible.
Dickle.
There's so many holes in this sock. I hate it so much. I'm going to throw it away when I take it off. But I didn't want to throw it away because it was clean. I had to dirty it first. Okay, so he also used an incredibly fast train system on transportation on Ceres. You could get anywhere within 30 minutes, despite the fact that that particular moon is 580 miles in diameter.
Hey,
You can get around real quick.
Yeah, real fast, cowboy.
So it's quicker than a bullet train. It's like a
So
laser
fast.
train.
Yeah, it's so fast. But it runs
Space
on
laser
magnets. He was tested to see if he was psychic when he was on the moon in 1988 at the ripe old age of 16.
let me guess. He
Tested
was.
positive.
He was not. That's negative for that.
Of course.
Wait, his girlfriend is the one that was psychic later on, right?
She was a hypnotist.
That's the detail he put in there to make it sound like he wasn't making it all up.
Yeah.
I'm actually not psychic, but I am an interdimensional space ranger.
Known as I Am Electric
Exactly.
Man.
Like being psychic's
he
bullshit.
wasn't even a space ranger. Most of the time, he serviced as a cargo officer.
No, he
So
wasn't a space
he-
ranger. Barack Obama was.
Okay,
that's
yeah,
right.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Most of the time, he was basically Fry from Futurama, just delivering stuff from place to place.
Bong, 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 bong.
But he was a trained Volkswagen bus-sized bug killer man because he trained with the great President Barack Obama, Space Ranger man. So there's so many more details to this that you can dig into. Listen to his interviews. they're pretty fascinating. He does a much better job of explaining these things. I didn't even talk about the satanic cult part that happened to him when he was a child. So you'll get to hear that when you listen to him talk.
I think that Joe Rogan needs to interview him.
That would I would listen to that. That'd be great.
Because I think that Joe would do a good job of being just being agreeable with what he's saying. But I think Joe also, he takes on the character or the person he's interviewing a lot of times.
Personality mirrors.
Yeah, so he mirrors that person. So he's going to be talking about this place where he went, where he did all this stuff, and Joe's going to be like, "Oh, man, I didn't really think anybody else had went through. I didn't know anybody else was talking about this.
Come to think of it,
I do remember Nazi moon trivia.
That one time I was on DMT, I kind of had like that.
There we go.
Experience.
I remember once when I was on DMT, I saw images of Nazi symbols on the moon. Like that's got to be a meaning, bro.
But then chimps attacked, and you don't want to mess with the chimp. You do not want to mess with a chimp.
Ever.
If I did DMT, do you know what I would want to see? My best friend Sonic the Hedgehog. I'm sorry, Austin. I'm sorry, boys. It's Sonic the Hedgehog. He's my best friend, and I want to tell everybody about my best friend Sonic the Hedgehog. Can I do that? I know we've talked about a lot of random things tonight, but I think I want to bring it back to reality and things that are in the real world, like Sonic the Hedgehog. He's out there.
He's got an attitude.
Well, yeah, because he's fast. He's got to go fast.
Yeah.
He's blue.
He's got a new
going
movie coming
slow.
out
He does have a new movie coming out, Sonic the Hedgehog 2.
With
with
Knuckles.
Jim Carrey.
Yeah, as the Eggman.
Of the Robotnik.
And I'll get to that after I talk about the past, and then we'll get to the present and the future. April 1990, Sega was like, hey, we need something to compete with Mario over at Nintendo. Right now, all we have is Alex Kidd. Does anyone know who Alex Kidd is?
Yeah.
Really?
No.
Oh, okay. Well, that's because that's why Sega was like, we need a Sonic Hedgehog, please, because Alex Kidd apparently wasn't doing it for Sega to really get him on the map like Nintendo was. And as they were coming up with characters to replace Alex Kidd as their poster child for Sega games, they came up with an armadillo, a dog, a short mustache man in pajamas, later used as the design for Dr. Robotnik, and a rabbit. And all those, they were like, no. Definitely not the short mustached man. We need a hedgehog. And now you two have had a fun time with names tonight. It's my turn to have a good time. Sonic was originally created by the final design of Sonic by the artist Naoto Oshima and the programmer Yuji Naka and designer Hirokazu Yasuhara. I think I did pretty good. These three people all designed Sonic as we know him. In the late 80s, his age kind of was like a, well, we don't know, back and forth kind of thing up until the late 90s, where it was kind of decided, okay, he's just basically perpetually for like 15 years old. Like, they're like, this makes sense. He's like a teenager. He's got the personality of like, a teenager with, I don't know, ADHD in both like mental and physical states. And his birthday's June the 23rd. So I can't wait to celebrate Sonic's birthday this year because I didn't know that was his birthday until today when I was looking all this up. Tiny.
Question.
Answer.
So is Sonic the Hedgehog in any way connected with Sonic Drive-In? Because at the one I worked at, you do get your food spooky fast. And they got them onion rings, bruh.
Mm-hmm. Just like the golden rings of Sonic.
Exactly.
I'm not saying they're not related. I think that's another tinfoil theory segment that we need to have in the future.
We've just never seen them in the same place at the same time.
Because who also has chili dogs?
Exactly.
Oh my gosh.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
It all, the more you think about it, the more it's real.
Golden rings and chili dog and
Wait,
Sonic.
how did chili dogs come into the play?
Sonic loves chili dogs. It's his favorite food.
Really?
Yes.
Yeah.
I didn't know.
Duh,
that.
Marcus.
I've never
Duh.
did
So
that. I
everybody
never
knows
saw
Sonic
that.
loves chili dogs.
I never saw it.
I've never seen a Sonic.
I also love chili dog.
Are you Sonic the Hedgehog?
No.
Okay, thank goodness. Do you know how tall Sonic is? Anybody?
3'4".
Tiny.
I would say based on the height of the rings and the proportion of the trees in the game and the buildings, I would say he is 5'10" to 5'11".
Jesus. Okay, Austin.
3'2".
No, Marcus had it almost. It's 3'3". He was 1 inch off. You should have went.
Wow.
I said 3'2".
Yeah, but you went off his guess.
No, I went off my guess because your facial reaction.
So we're both.
See? I knew it. I knew it.
Oh, try
You're
it.
too smart.
Price is right rules, Bob.
Yeah,
$1.
I was going to do that. I was going to can I guess again? And I was going to say $1. No, it's not.
Do you know
funny.
how much Sonic weighs at 3'3"?
40 pounds.
Okay, at 3'3", I'm going to do some math based on the height of the rings, proportion to the trees. I would say he weighs roughly 63.257 pounds.
45.
77. Tiny wins it.
Yes.
Tiny wins it.
77 pounds?
He is 77 pounds at 3'3".
I mean, they explain he's from a different planet with a different molecular structure inside of the movie, but at the same time, that wouldn't make any sense to somebody that just played the video games where you run real fast.
Yeah, he's like, that seems heavy to me, right?
That also explains why he has a hard time stopping once he gets so fast.
Yeah, I also want to see the anatomy of his feet.
You want to?
Yeah, because if he can run that fast
Ooh.
and his feet hit the ground that hard and they're that pointy based on what I've seen.
Of the shoes?
The shoes, yes.
Yeah.
His feet's got to be real weird, bro.
I don't think I want to see Sonic's feet.
I feel like they're full of
I don't think I
corns.
want
and,
to. His blue color was based on the Sega logo, if you didn't know that. And his shoe design was based on Michael Jackson. As well as now get this, the color of his shoes based on Santa Claus. What?
Wow.
Yeah, because he's a present to all. And his personality was inspired by the future president Bill Clinton and his whole get it done
How?
attitude. His quote unquote get it done attitude. This is real. Like
Okay.
Yeah, he was based on Bill Clinton. So if you love Bill
What?
Clinton, you have to love Sonic, vice versa.
Holy hell, I think Sonic does play a saxophone.
He may.
And I think he did get a Hummer in the Oval Office.
I think he did too.
That's a
oval office, rings, tiny.
Yeah,
We're on to
makes sense,
something. The original concepts gave Sonic fangs and also put him up in a band, and he had a human girlfriend, and her name was Madonna.
What?
Yeah.
Oh.
The original Sonic
wow.
was more like a vampire musician that was sleeping with real human women.
Yeah.
Does
and
he
I-
have a red rocket?
He's got red shoes. And he's
Makes
real
sense.
fast.
Yeah.
So he probably looks like one.
I bet it's
No,
kinda
he looks-
curly
He's more
cued.
blue than red. But yeah, so then they were like, no, we need him a little bit more kid friendly. So they made him a little rounder and didn't have him bang human beings. And they took away his fangs to
I'm
make him a
really
little
going to
softer.
regret this Google search.
Oh, tiny. Did you know that he always drowns in water because the original designer didn't realize that some hedgehogs can actually swim? He thought all hedgehogs just drowned as soon
Oh,
as you put
boy.
them in water. What'd you find?
This is roughly what Sonic the Hedgehog's wiener looks like because that's a hedgehog wiener. I really see. There's like some little fang portions, and it's kind of squiggly and wiggly. I don't like that at
What
all.
have you done to my blue son? Why have you done this?
I mean, if he's banging chicks, I want to know how. I just.
That's why they looked at one image of a hedgehog wiener and they were like, "There's no way that we're gonna have this dude like sleeping with human people. We can't do it for the sake of our fans and the children." The idea for him to be so fast actually comes from the programmer Yuji Naka always wanting to beat the original Mario level 1-1. He wanted to beat it so fast that he was like, you know what? I want to create a character that if he were put there, he would just do it in an instant. So that's where Sonic gets his speed originally from. I thought that was pretty cool.
That is cool.
He first appeared in a game called Rad Mobile, which was like a racing game, and his image was a little ornament on the interior of the car. It kind of dangled from the maybe the rearview mirror or the ceiling or something like that. And like Sega was kind of in agreement. They were like, well, let's get his image out there at least, like something to where people like, where have I seen this little blue hedgehog before? And then Sonic was released about 8 months later. So Sonic's first appearance wasn't even a Sonic game, which we've had other video game characters kind of have that happen to them too.
Yep.
But I didn't think Sonic was one of them. So do you know how many games that Sonic is like he's been in? He's at least appeared in.
Oh my gosh.
Not counting Rad Mobile.
Probably like 400.
14.
$1, Bob.
90.
What?
Tiny was closest. 90 cents, closest to $1. But you went over, so you lose. 90 video games Sonic has been in. Do you know how many of those are good?
0.
7.
Oh, my number.
They're about 0. They're pretty close to 0. Sonic games aren't very good. They're just not good. But the characters are so lovable, and Sonic is so amazing that they can be fun to play. And they're pretty much to the point now that you play it if you can get a hold of one for cheap. You don't want to spend actual money on these things because they're terrible. But if you can get a hold of them for cheap, you can play them just for the glitches and the just low effort of the design of the games themselves. I think I've mentioned the Game Grumps before in the past. They're a YouTube channel, and they love Sonic games because of how much they hate Sonic games because they're just not good, but they get such good content out of it because it just screws up all the time. And I love that about Sonic.
You can just be running on some Sonic games and there's not an obstacle in your way. There's not a spike wall that you're supposed to halt before you get to. You're just running and all of a sudden you just like you got rings exploding everywhere from you getting hit. And you're just like, what happened?
Yeah.
Did I hit a nail in the road? That's not a game thing. There's no nail in my foot here on the Sonic.
Yeah. And the main antagonist that Sonic comes across all the time, which
Jim
we
Carrey.
have seen in the newest Sonic movie, is Dr. Robotnik. And the Eggman, as the Sonic game calls him sometimes. And Jim Carrey does play him in the newest movie, and I will stand by it. Great movie. I loved it. And Jim Carrey does an awesome job as Dr. Robotnik.
I love how they had to change Sonic because of the fan outcry.
Yes.
I think we've talked about that before on
They
this.
did it on purpose.
They had to have done it on purpose
He
because there's
looks
no way you could make him look
so-
that terrifying.
Like he looked like
I
a
think it was
nightmare
good,
creature.
right?
They gave him like teeth that were independent of his face. Like the bottom of his face didn't actually connect the right way to the way his facial shape connected.
It's terrifying.
So he had just teeth operating south of a hedgehog like nose, and the face was totally misproportioned. It just looked like a scary blue dude with a long snoot, and the fans were like, "That's
No.
not Sonic."
No, you can't do this. We won't allow it.
Yeah,
And
we
didn't
won't.
allow
None of us
it.
will watch
No.
this.
So did they go with the sexy Sonic? Because at
Oh,
one
yeah.
point I remember an
For
image
sure.
released of a sexy Sonic, like ripped with a 6-pack and all this mess.
Oh, no.
Because I've not seen the
six-pack.
movie.
No 6-pack.
I haven't either.
Still sexy though. I mean, it's Sonic. What's really weird, like speaking of scary, his eyes aren't eyes. It's eye. It's like one thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like one.
One big car,
blob.
like the windshield on cars. How they have that one big long windshield with two little pupils.
Oh, Cars the show.
Yeah, Cars the movie, yeah.
Yeah.
Same idea with the way Sonic's eyes are shaped. Just that one white orb.
Yeah. It's like an M, but the middle of it doesn't touch the bottom, so it's still got the gap in the bottom, and it's weird. It's really strange. Do you guys know who Miles Prower is?
No.
Yeah, he's involved with the Sonic stuff.
Okay.
Yeah, he helps run the fast food chain side of the business of Sonic
Right.
Enterprises.
And it's also Tails' real name.
Yeah.
I told you.
Tails yes, Tails, Sonic's best friend, Tails. His real name his canonical name is Miles Prower. Tails is his nickname because he's a fox with a couple tails.
Little helicopter boy.
Yeah.
So this is another tinfoil theory that I didn't know it had this much evidence to support it.
No, the Sonic, the restaurant stuff was bullshit.
No, it was tiny shit.
No,
Well, now I'm more confused than ever, but continue.
should be.
It's fine. I don't have to know everything.
Or anything.
Knuckles is Sonic's best like frenemy because they were enemies at first. Because Knuckles was kind of working alongside Dr. Robotnik, and then Robotnik kind of screwed over Knuckles, and then Sonic and Knuckles worked together, and from that point on, they've been kind of like back and forth, because Sonic is more about speed and agility, and Knuckles is more about strength and power.
Now, does Knuckles have a stupid human name as well, like Tails does?
All I know about Knuckles, his name is Knuckles, and he's an echidna and not a hedgehog.
Yeah.
What's the difference? I don't know, man.
Echidnas are anteaters.
Echidnas are anteaters?
Yeah, it's a form of anteater.
Is it really? Man, I don't think I've ever seen Knuckles eat an ant, but I want to see it now. And we've already talked about Jim Carrey playing Dr. Robotnik in the newest iterations of Sonic on the silver screen, which is actually the first, I guess, like theatrical release of Sonic ever. But it's an animated Sonic in a real human world with James Marsden as his best friend, Human Man.
Echidnas are hedgehogs, but they're anteaters.
It's like a hedgehog anteater.
Yeah.
That's wild.
There's very large, powerful hedgehog anteaters.
That's Knuckles.
Yeah.
Ben Schwartz plays the voice of Sonic, and I think he does a wonderful job. He's a very funny comedian and great actor, and he loves his job as Sonic, and he loves promoting the movie because he loves the character, and that's got to be a dream come true for somebody that loves a character like that. But I can't think of another video game character that is as popular as Sonic and have as bad of video games as he's had. But I guess overexposure is the key. 90 games?
Yeah.
I guess that's how you do it. And he also had comic books and cartoon shows and now movies, like all kinds of stuff. Like they went all out making him their symbol for Sega, and it worked. They put a lot more effort into his image and personality than they did his video games. But
Yeah, that is cool.
yeah, it's kind of neat. And I love him. I love him to death.
The words and the lyrics here to the Sonic theme song from the 90s cartoon from Sonic is Sonic, he can really move. Sonic, he's got an attitude. Sonic, he's the fastest thing alive.
It's drilled into your brain for the rest of your life, hopefully like this episode. Thank you all for listening on Spotify and iTunes and Audible and CastBox, and geez, we're on all of it. We're on all of it. Wherever you're at, wherever you're listening to us, that's where we are. And that's pretty neat, I think. You'll find that we are now popping up on Wednesdays. We like being the grape jam in your week biscuit. So, yeah, we're popping there right in the middle of the week on Wednesdays now. It's nice. It's nice to be there right in the middle. Give you something to look forward to on Hump Day. And if you want to wear us on your body at any time, go to Teespring and get some merchandise with us on it, with our logo and our names and hot stinking fecal garbage and all kinds of stuff. That is in the description of the episode.
And if you wanted to buy some stuff off of Teespring and then, get into a program to where you can spend 20 years in a secret government facility on several different planets, just tell us the relevancy when you come back for that 20-year gap of what Nerded Through the Grapevine has done. And it'd be really easy to do if you hopped on Twitter or Instagram or Facebook by looking up @NerdGrapevine. And then you can get on the Patreon account by looking up Best Friends period, Tiny Ink period, and donate a little bit of money to the cause. All you'd have to do is just donate a little bit. You get a Nerded Through the Grapevine logo holographic sticker, and you would also get our admiration and adornment and be able to unlock stuff that we have not released to the public. So, when Patreon gets to rolling up a little bit more, you're going to have some content on there that it's pretty exciting. We've got a lot of poop shoot stuff that we can't just release on the episode.
Oh no!
Oh, it's poop shoot stuff.
We don't want him to. Yeah, okay.
It's poop shoot stuff. It's great. It's so good. But don't listen to some of that poop shoot stuff and out loud in your office, around a lot of people, because it's prone to raise some eyebrows and cause a little bit of.
Anybody know what time Sonic closes? Because I really want some chili dogs right now after that topic.
Right? Just thinking of Sonic, thinking of my blue boy makes me want a chili dog so bad.
Like a chili dog with bacon and onions, chili
Fritos?
and cheese and pickles and honey mustard.
Huh?
Oh, it's so
tots.
good.
I don't think I put honey mustard on a chili dog.
Well, I worked at Sonic at one point,
Yeah?
and
It was-
you experiment with the food after you've eaten it a billion
how do you
times.
experiment with it?
I don't want to know what he experimented with them chili
experiments
dogs.
did you do with the hot dogs?
Different. I don't know if Pauleg could fit in the scheme of a foot-long chili cheese coney. But needless to say, you put a lot of Pollock on there.
Got it.
But you can also find us on Discord. Tell us what you want on your chili dogs. Tell us if you've been chili dogged. Tell us if you run through rings. Just hit us up. Talk to us. There's a meme channel. There's, Backyard Bonanza. And it's just a great, happy, slappy fun time. And occasionally we stream movies. So there's a link in the description.
If we could have Abraham Lincoln Vampire Hunter, why can't we have Barack Obama Space Ranger?
I don't know. Because
Right.
it's real. It would be based on a true story.
And you've got the guy still alive to contest the stories and the evidence that's not.
But Woody, though?
He has to.
When life gives you grapes, Dane.
I want to come up with I want to take the grapes. I want to come up with a grape chili recipe and put it on a hot dog. I might even I'll put it on a wiener. I'll put it on a tofu hot dog, a dildo that we decided I think is the technical term for it.
Tofu hot dogs are dildos, yes.
Tofu hot dog. I want to come up with, the wolf would love a grape chili tofu hot dog. And I know he would.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, being a vegan and all.
Yeah, because
So grape chili dildo.
Because
Awesome.
grape chili, that would be vegan, right? Grape chili?
Yeah.
Use it instead of the meat?
yeah,
Man.
absolutely.
Grapes and tomatoes.
Oh,
There are grape tomatoes as well.
Can you imagine just how bad your stomach's going to hurt from eating that grape chili?
My tongue would hurt, just the idea of putting it on there.
I don't know. Sweet and savory at the same time might
I'm gonna
connect pretty
smear it on my nipples.
Ooh, grape chili nipples. Oh, my gosh.
Chili nipple.
Just looks like Robitussin diarrhea.